So, Billy Joe Saunders, getting ready for your big world title fight with Andy Lee on October 10. How are your preparations going?
Yeah, they're going well. Just been down the Input Media area, just doing a face-off. Things are going very well. Back out to MGM Marbella on the 1st of September, which is Tuesday. And just go out there really and put the last toppings of the R graft in. You know, it's not long now, 6 and a few days, 6 weeks and a few days, and I'll be world champion.
Yeah, I mean, how many weeks has this camp been?
Listen, it's got put back a little bit, but you know, I mean, I've been advised quite professionally what to do about it, how to, you know, ease off so you don't go overboard, and you know, when to step your foot on the gas. And you know, it's been not a long camp, intense work, but it's been like a long enough camp just to start now, just getting that eager now. Can't wait to get in there.
Yeah, I mean, what are the kind of things you've been working on just to, you know, obviously you're a European champion, you know, you've won it all on the way up, but to go to that next level, to become a world champion, what are the kind of things you've been working on to improve, to take it up to the next level?
Well, I think with me, I'm more of an adapter. I'm more of an adapter, and I think that the occasion will bring me to the next level. I mean, and you know, the extra bit of determination I've got inside me, and you know, the extra little bit of fire. And I think that, you know, that's that would do me in good stead. I mean, just to get my foot on the ladder and be the world champion, it's a dream come true. Then it's not just about winning the world title, and it's about then getting the best sparring, the best, you know, getting everything around you to move on to the next level again, which is the A-class fighters. You know, your Golovkins and your Miguel Cottos and etc.
Yeah.
So I think that's just getting hold of that belt first, just giving me that extra big lift, and that's going to bring me on leaps and bounds.
Yeah, I mean, what a time to be a middleweight. Like, if you become world champion October 10, there's suddenly, you know, that's a huge fight in the UK anyway, but they're massive global stars out there in your weight class. Who would have the other world titles?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you got Miguel Cotto fighting Alvarez. You got David Lemez fighting Triple G. You know, you got a lot of good fights out there. You got me and Andy Lee. So you know, I think at the minute the middleweight division is not to be laughed at.
Yeah. Actually, those fights going. Like, what's your prediction for Golovkin and Lemieux?
One goes 6 rounds, Golovkin.
Yeah, and for Cotto.
That's a tough one, because I think one day I think Cotto, then I think Alvarez.
Yeah.
It's just one of them ones, you know. It's interesting because you say Alvarez, but if I had to put money on it, I would go Alvarez, because they're the same sort of fighters, but Alvarez can use his boxing a bit more, and he's a fresher man.
Yeah. And back to your fight, I mean, how do you see it going? Do you see yourself winning the first half of the fight and then just defending the lead?
No, I think that, you know, I say things for a reason. You know, putting people's heads for a reason, and what I said today in interviews and what is for a reason.
Yeah.
But I've got my game plan set out how I'm going to win this fight.
Yeah, I mean, what was it like today? Just, I mean, well, obviously you've done a couple of press conferences with Andy, but sitting there right head to head.
With Andy Lee, I think. Me and him might move into each other. Yeah, I think that, you know, it gets a little bit it's a bit awkward.
Yeah.
You know, because you're fighting someone in 6 weeks that you're going to stand toe to toe with, or whatever you're going to do, and trying to knock his head off. You're chatting like, you know, nothing's wrong. You know, and to be fair, he's a fair fella, he's a sound fella. You know, I've got no problem with him just winning his title.
Yeah, I mean, do you think things like this is the sort of mind games or showing no fear, and you know, do you read much into sort of body language and that kind of stuff? Is there a bit of pressure in how you present yourself when you're face to face with him?
Not really. I think the body pressure and the languages, and you know, and all that ain't going to win or lose you the fight.
Yeah.
You know, just say what you got to say, calm. You know, there's no need to slag him off, because he ain't slagged me off, and you know, he's not that way inclined. And you know, we'll put up a good fight. You know, and I'm just going to take his title off him. That's about it, really.
Yeah, so you don't need to feel the need to sort of, you know, stare him out or try and intimidate him.
Listen, we're going to do enough staring for 36 minutes when we fight in concentration. So yeah, I just looking to go in there and just do a job.
He's a big puncher. Are you, when you look ahead to this fight, are you sort of thinking in your mind, like preparing yourself to be hit as hard as, or harder than you've ever been hit before when it comes to fighting Andy Lee?
You can't go on sparring, but I spar with light heavyweights, cruiserweights all the time, and I've got a good chin.
Yeah.
People knows I've got a good chin, but I'm not really going to go in this fight thinking I'm going to get hit. I'm not going there thinking, oh, all right, I'm cautious, and I know what I've got to watch out for, but I'm not worried if I do get hit with it. I'm not. If I get hit with it, I'm not going to think, oh, he's hit me with that. I'm not going to go back there no more. No, if what I do and I think's right, I do. So I'm going in there cautious, but I'm not worried about getting it.
Yeah, and also from seeing your previous fights, like when you do get caught, you don't often get caught again. Like you're quite good at defending yourself or getting out of trouble.
A lot of people, like I said earlier on, a lot of people underestimate me by looking in. They look in the ring and think, oh, I could beat him. But when they get in the ring with me, it's a different story. I look very, let's say, probably to a lot of people, I look beatable. But when they're in there with me, it's a bit of a different story.
Yeah, what are the parts of your boxing that make you so tough to beat?
I think, obviously, it's the will. I've got a good will to win. And I don't know what it is. Sometimes when I know what they're going to throw for the throw, sometimes I just slip, roll, and I think, what made me do that? And I realise that it's just come out naturally. I'm just a naturally good. I'm a good judgment of distance and a good judgment of a punch. As soon as I see a fraction of a second the shoulder move to throw a punch, I'm gone. You know what I mean? I'm back into range for my own sort of thing. And Andy's not the fastest of punchers, but he's a big puncher.
And he sort of, he has fallen behind in his recent fights. He sort of uses power to get him out of trouble. Do you think that could be his downfall? And in this fight, if he lets rounds just slip away.
If Andy lets rounds slip away with me, he won't. See, the problems with the American fighters and you fight in America, even if they're winning, they still have a war. They still stand there and have a war, even if they're up 10 rounds. They still stand there and have a trade and a war with a puncher or not. They still do it. But you got to be a bit clever, And I think that I want to be 30-year-old and still be able to string a sentence together, can't get one out. So I think that if I'm up on points, I won't be in range, in firing range, from when I want to be, obviously, only for him to knock me out.
Do you think that sort of defensive boxing is becoming a bit of a lost art? Because like last night at his workout, Mayweather was saying it's all about hitting and not being hit because he's got a lot of criticism for his style. Do you think the sort of... Yeah.
Well, all right, well, to be honest with you, who criticises his style don't know boxing. Because boxing is hit and not get hit. And that's what he does. And he does it well, to perfection, to be fair. He does it to perfection. And if I could do it as to perfection as him, I'll be a very happy man.
Yeah. And do you think Andy's been sort of drawn into too many wars in his career?
I think Andy's had a lot of wars. I think he's had a few wars, Andy Lee. And having wars that, because he's been pro since he's been 20 odd. So he's been pro now 12 years or so, I suppose, 10 years. Say 10. And every fight you look at, he's in a war, nearly.
Yeah.
Every fight you see, even with Fitzgerald from Ireland, he was even in a war with him, and that was a close fight. So he's been in a lot of wars, and I think that'll tell in this fight.
Yeah. And just finally, the switch of the venue to Manchester. It's now. Do you see that? I suppose have you got home advantage now in this fight, and could that be crucial for you?
Not really. Listen, I find there's a ring's a ring. I was willing to go to Ireland. It didn't bother me. It didn't faze me because I'm going there one thing, and that's winning.
Would have been cold though in this outdoor stadium in September.
It would have been cold, but I'm going to put you on the spot now. I'm going to ask who you picking to win the fight.
Okay. I do think it's a 50-50 fight.
Yeah.
But I think with Andy Lee's if I had to write like the proof
Yeah.
of the magazine, I think with Andy Lee's experience, maybe his power,
Yeah.
he might edge it on points if I had to pick.
Yeah.
But that's just, you know, that's not.
Right, now we're going to have to have a fight for that. Nah, listen.
But again, it's not like.
No, listen.
You know, I could see you winning the first half and maybe him winning the second half. So
Yeah, no, that's good. Listen, I'm pleased for your honesty, and you're entitled to your opinion, and hopefully I want to prove you wrong.
Well, yeah, and I only say that because he's had those. You know, he's fought
been in
Peter.
there.
He's fought Peter Quillen and he's
Yeah.
got the title. And Korobov was a good win.
Yeah, it was a very good win, Korobov. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you know you got youth on your side,
Yeah.
and you know you're a really hard man to outbox.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a very interesting fight, in my opinion.
Thank you very much.
Well, thanks very much for the interview.
man.
Thank you.
We'll have a fight later.
I hope not.